Open mics, rolling.
Coming up on Point News, we find out how one woman speaking out against her accuser at the national level is influencing others to speak out against their accusers.
And find out where you can get your flu shot on and off campus.
We are 4 days into October, and one of our reporters investigated one of Pittsburgh's oldest mysteries. All coming up now on Point News.
Live from the Point Park University Broadcast Center in downtown Pittsburgh, this is Point News.
Living on a college campus means a higher chance of getting sick.
Reporter Skylar Roof has the story on where and when you can get your flu vaccine. Skylar?
Thanks, Taylor. A walk-in flu vaccine clinic opened in the downtown area on Monday. Ryan Scarpino with the Allegheny County Health Department says the ACHD has a clinic open year-round, but this temporary clinic will offer residents regular and high-dosage flu vaccines. The ACHD reported over 12,000 cases and 31 deaths last flu season. The CDC recommends getting the flu vaccine in early fall to allow enough time for antibodies to develop to fight against the flu before flu season begins. Scarpino says the ACHD will be offering vaccines until the department runs out or until the vaccine expires in June of 2019. And if you're unable to make it to this clinic, you can go to the Student Health Center where they will be having a walk-in, say boo to the flu, for only $10 and your student ID. You can protect against the flu.
According to the City Pittsburgh website, City Fit has had a new way to help residents be more active. During Saturday mornings through October and the first Saturday of November, City Fit will lead 5 5-mile walks accompanied by City Park Rangers through 5 city parks. The 2-hour walks are free for city residents and their dogs. City Fit is an organization aimed on making Pittsburgh one of the most physically active cities in the United States. According to Albert Garcia, a wellness guru for the city, discovered City Parks walks as a trial for the coming spring with intent for more walks to come.
Well, Claire, I do hope that the weather is somewhat better than what we've been having at those walks.
I do too. We're actually going to send it right over to Nicole Paxinos to see what is happening this week with our weather.
Thanks, guys. So it's not going to be too good of much of a day today. So we're at 76 for our high and 48 for our low. It's been raining out there all day, so I'm sure it's going to continue into tonight. Our weekend forecast doesn't look too bad either. So on Friday, we have a high of 71, a low of 61, and a 10% chance of rain. So that Friday night football for those high schoolers shouldn't have too much rain there for them. A high on Saturday is going to be 83 and a low of 65, 40% chance of rain. So you know, here in Pittsburgh, it's probably going to rain. And on Sunday, we have a high of 81 and a low of 65, 40% chance of rain again on Sunday. So just bring your umbrellas just in case, and I'll send it back over to you guys at the desk.
Voting is just around the corner. Last week, Academy Award winner Tom Hanks made a special appearance in Oakland to speak about the importance of voting.
Last week, When We All Vote, a nonprofit organization, held a voter registration event at Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Hall and Museum in Oakland. The event was part of their Week of Action voting initiative and featured local speakers as well as actor and co-chair Tom Hanks. According to Soldiers and Sailors staff, the event drew around 1,000 people. When We All Vote's website states that those attending needed to RSVP online prior. There were tables inside to ensure attendees had access to register to vote. The deadline for voter registration is on October 9th. Votes PA, a state government website, says the deadline to apply for absentee ballots is on October 30th.
October 30th is the due date for registration for absentee voting. In order to be eligible for absentee voting, you either have to have been physically unable to make it to your polling place or have had an other legitimate reason for being outside your municipality. Legitimate reasons include physical disabilities, illness, active military duty, or being the family of an active duty member. People observing religious holidays or those who expect to be away from their polling place for vacation or work. If you are eligible, you can go and register at vote.org and visit their absentee voters tab. The process takes no more than a few minutes. In recent weeks, sexual assault allegations have been on the front page of the news.
Reporter Derek Collins has a story on why victims may wait to speak out against their attackers.
when Dr. Christine Blasey Ford accused Supreme Court nominee Judge Brett Kavanaugh of a sexual assault that allegedly occurred in high school, one question echoed through the minds of many. Why did she wait so long? According to Executive Director of FISA Foundation, Christy Troutman, Dr. Ford speaking out decades later is not uncommon. Survivors may wait days, months, or even years before telling someone of their experience. The National Sexual Violence Resource Center reports more than 90% of sexual assaults go unreported on college campuses. Troutman says survivors are selective with who they talk to, but Title IX coordinator Elizabeth Rosemeyer says there are options for students who want to file a report on campus.
Really, any place that a student feels comfortable going. Most people at the university have been trained in how to connect that student with resources to get support.
Rosemeyer says students can speak with their RE, trained faculty members, and student life staff or fill out an online report. After an assault, students can utilize the university's counseling center as well as local organizations such as Pittsburgh Action Against Rape.
And my hope is that students who want resources will know that they're available and they can come for them.
Dr. Ford described feelings of anxiety and PTSD during her testimony. Troutman says whether a survivor reports an incident immediately or any time after, they may experience several physical and mental health problems. Troutman says there are time-sensitive problems, including pregnancy and STIs. A survivor may appear normal to others but mentally experience depression, anxiety, fear, and short-term mood swings. Some survivors may experience these issues or even come forward based on triggers. Kavanaugh's nomination triggered Dr. Ford, and Dr. Ford's testimony triggered an increase in calls to the National Sexual Assault Hotline. Between the day of the hearing and the following Sunday, the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network reported a 338% increase in hotline traffic. Reporting from Point Park University in downtown Pittsburgh, I'm Dara Collins, Point News.
Still to come on Point News, what job fair is coming to Point Park?
And learn how social media could haunt you.
And Pittsburgh's oldest mystery.
All when Point News returns.
Go to our new website, uvu.pointpark.edu.
Go, 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 go!
Join UVU and find your herd.
Join EOP. And 3, 2, 1. Join EOP.
I was just saying, grab them now, or else I will snap.
Yeah. Join on point with politics. 3, 2, 1.
Join Pioneer Sideline.
Loneliest number that you'll ever do.
Social media is widely popular with almost any age group now.
Reporter Megan Masiosi explains how social media can haunt you years, even decades later.
Past follows us everywhere, even into places we don't want it to. According to the New York Times, Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh is finding that out the hard way from his senior yearbook, a yearbook from 1983 that could have cost him his nomination. So what could millennial social media accounts cost them in the future? According to a hiring study conducted by Career Builder, 57% of employers will not bring a candidate in for an interview if they can't find them in a Google search.
So when an employer is looking at a candidate, they'll probably just do a quick Google search of the candidate, checking their LinkedIn, making sure that it's professional and complete, making sure that they have a professional photo. And this actually increases the chances of the candidate getting hired. It makes them seem likable, it makes them seem competent and knowledgeable.
Some red flags for companies are inappropriate pictures and videos, drinking and using drugs, bad-mouthing a previous company, and lying about qualifications.
In the news today, we've seen so many instances of someone posting something on Twitter. It could even be a CEO of a company where, you know, they get so much backlash from something that maybe they didn't mean something a certain way, but they did say it and someone took it the wrong way. So we've been seeing people getting fired from companies, a lot of backlash, a lot of bad press.
Recently, a new trend on Instagram and Twitter is millennials making a private account and a public account. The public account being for their professional status and their private account being for their friends. But should you really keep those two separate?
My concern is whenever there are two accounts and one is private and one is public. To me, that kind of says, okay, I know what I need to do and say and act and those things. I know what people want to see, but behind the scenes, I'm really this way and I want that to be private. And so I say, okay, for what reason? Why do you need a private account?
According to a study from Career Builder, 3 out of every 10 employers have someone solely dedicated just to checking candidates' social media. That also goes for when they get the job, they continue to check on their employees. Reporting from Village Park for Point News, I'm Megan Masiosi.
The Western PA Collegiate Job Fair and Internship Fair, or WestPACS, is coming to the Monroeville Convention Center on October 10th. According to the director of Point Park's Career Development Center and executive board member for WestPACS, Angela Scaramucci, the fair has been very successful for those students in engineering or IT majors, since a lot of big companies cannot make job fairs downtown. The job is free to all students who pre-register online, and shuttles will run to and from the convention center all day from the student center lot. Find out how Point Park is celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month.
And Pittsburgh sports call still to come when Point News returns.
What's one word to describe CAB?
Welcoming.
Community.
Creative.
Experiences.
Family.
Openness. Pineapple.
The Campus Activities Board is a student-run organization that consists of 7 different committees. Each focuses on event planning, marketing, and administrative activities. Join us in organizing the juiciest events on campus, from late-night bingo to festive dances to our team bonding meetings. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Point Park Cap, or like us on Facebook at Campus Activities Board at Point Park University.
Good evening and welcome to Newsnight. I'm Josh Troop alongside Jess Paterchak.
Defending his decision to kick out 15 Cuban diplomats from the United States. Thanks, Allison. Fitness on Demand has returned to Point Park.
Residents fear that Mount Agung will have a repeat of 1963's eruption.
2-star NFL quarterbacks made the headlines this week after wrapping up.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening. That's your news tonight. For Nick Tomarello, I'm Alex Grubbs. Have a great night.
It looks as if the Steelers can't seem to catch a break this season thus far.
And Pirates might be done for the season, but Pirates general manager Neil Huntington and manager Clint Hurdle announced some big news for the team's 2019 season. Sports reporter Sarah Maculin has the scoop. Sarah?
That's right. Unfortunately, the Pittsburgh Steelers' season woes continued this past weekend when they lost to division rival the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday Night Football. After getting off to a slow start, the Steelers managed to tie the game at halftime at 14 apiece. However, the Steelers struggled offensively in the second half, failing to score any points, and fell to the Ravens by a final score of 26-14. The Steelers now sit at a record of 1-2-1 and tied for last place in the division with the Cleveland Browns. The Steelers will look to bounce back this Sunday at Heinz Field against the Atlanta Falcons. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock. Now, the Pittsburgh Pirates season may have just ended, but the team is already preparing for the 2019 season. On Monday, Pirates general manager Neil Huntington and manager Clint Hurdle announced that hitting coach Jeff Branson and assistant hitting coach Jeff Livesey will not be returning to the team in 2019. Both coaches have spent the last 5 years with the club. In a press release, Huntington said, quote, "Both men are of high character, hardworking, and good baseball men. We felt that this was the right time to take our major league hitting program in a different direction," end quote. And while the Pirates have closed the door on yet another season, the Pittsburgh Penguins are just getting started. The Pens wrapped up preseason play last Friday and will play their first game of the season tonight versus the Stanley Cup champion Washington Capitals, who knocked the Pens out of the playoffs last season. The puck will drop tonight at PPG Paints Arena at 7 o'clock. And moving from our city sports to our university sports, our reporter Delaney Bomas tells us all about how the athletic department raises money for our athletes.
Last week, Point Park alumni, faculty, and family teed off at Hickory Heights Golf Course to help raise money and support the athletic department. Last Thursday, the Point Park Athletic Department held their annual golf outing at Hickory Heights Golf Course in nearby Bridgeville. Golfers could come by themselves or come in a foursome to play a round of golf and support Point Park athletics.
What this golf outing does is all the proceeds go, we split it up evenly for the most part amongst the teams, and they do various travel, whether it be tournaments for the golf team or what benefits spring break trips for softball and baseball.
Golfers were able to buy raffle tickets for a chance to win a multitude of prizes donated by various teams and companies from Pittsburgh. Golfers were also able to bet against the Point Park golf team and see who was better. Many familiar faces come each year, only making the day more fun.
The greatest part about this, the 8th annual, means that we've seen a lot of familiar faces year in and year out. So we have alumni, we have friends of the programs, we have folks that are just that enjoy Point Park University, we have staff, faculty. So it is really a kind of everybody comes together at this golf outing.
As the golf outing wrapped up, many left the course with great memories, smiling faces, and even a hole-in-one.
Oh, yeah. Good shot. Good shot. Bosco, good shot.
Oh, no! Reporting from Point Park University, I'm Delaney Bomas for Point News.
It's Hispanic Heritage Month in the United States and here at Point Park University. Students and faculty are recognizing the important presence of Hispanic culture. Last week, the Literary Arts and Social Justice Department celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month with showings of the films Quinceañera and La Misma Luna. Creative writing professor Chris Gurman, who has published works on Latino literature, feels it's important for students to understand the contributions of Hispanic people.
So that's the one thing I think we accomplished.
Hispanic Heritage Month ends on October 15th, and you can still celebrate here at Point Park with salsa lessons tonight from 7 to 8 p.m. in Lawrence Hall 200.
It's one of Pittsburgh's biggest mysteries. What happened to the B-25 bomber?
Samir Nefsi sits down with an expert on the case to talk about this mystery surrounding the city.
Him to the top of the plane, and the river's only 25 to 30 feet.
It's the mystery that's been sending shockwaves across the Steel City for 62 years now. What happened to the B-25 bomber? Did the highly polluted rivers corrode the aluminum exterior of the aircraft, or did something a little bit more secretive take place? I stopped by the Heinz History Center to chat with an expert about that cold January evening in 1956. It was around 4 p.m. when a B-25 bomber flew over the Glenwood Bridge in Homestead when 6 crew members found themselves running low on fuel.
They asked to go to Greater Pittsburgh Airport, so they started making a loop, but by the time they were looping, the fuel on the wings had gone empty. There was still a little bit in the main tanks.
After plunging into the frigid waters of the Monongahela River, they floated for about 11 minutes when the 2 crew members, Captain Gene Ingram and Sergeant Staff Walter Soki, attempted to swim to the shoreline in the 34-degree waters.
The people who did get in the water were blacking out from that, just that's so cold on the human body.
In the following hours, help was on its way. The U.S. Coast Guard sent the fleet Forsythia.
The Coast Guard had tried to hook a wing earlier, and they pulled it, and the pulled off. So the plane had kept floating.
After sinking to her watery grave, the U.S. Coast Guard and Army Corps searched for 14 days and found nothing.
There's all kinds of crazy stories, from nuclear bombs to showgirls and to aliens.
Since the accident, the government has released an official report with redacted information on it. Do you think we'll ever definitively know what actually happened to the aircraft?
I think someday we will.
The true events of what actually happened to that aircraft may never be known. But there is one question that the city will always beg. What happened to the B-25 Ghost bomber. For Point News, I'm Samir Nefsi.
Well, that's all this week for Point News. I'm Taylor Fife.
And I'm Claire Costello. We'll see you next week.